Hey guys, hopefully you're having a super Tuesday afternoon and enjoying the sunshine. So let us get you done with your math so you can go out and enjoy it some more. This is percent of change, unit 6.5. It is page 204, so you should have your textbook, your composition book, and a pencil. And what we're going to learn in this lesson is solving problems involving percent increase and decrease, which takes us to our two vocabulary words, markup and discount in our yellow box. Markup essentially is saying the rate at which the price of merchandise increases over its cost. The increase paid to the merchandise cost. Okay, that's a really confusing way to say, and we talked about it a little bit in class, that if Luke's dad at the veterinarian's office orders some pills or some vitamins for $15, he won't make any money if he sells them for $15. So he says, I'm going to take a percentage of that cost of that $15 and I'm going to mark it up that much. So that's our first one, is it's saying that the percent of the amount that you're marking up over what it cost so that you can make a profit. So that would be a markup. The opposite of that is a discount. A discount is somebody says, hey, I've got some more furniture coming in. I need to get this old furniture out to make room for the new furniture. So I'm going to say it's 50% off the original price. So if the original price was $500, I'm going to take 50% off. I need to find what is 50% and take that off the $500. So markup is going to increase, like we said right here, by a percentage. Discount is going to decrease the price by a percentage. So with that, our first problem is Mr. Soto sells fish at a 60% markup. So he's increasing the price so he can make more money. He pays $3.75 per pound for haddock, which is a kind of fish, in 1 week. At what price per pound will he sell it? Well, we need to find out what 60% of 300 or $3.75 is. So here's our 100%, which is $3.75. We need to figure out what 60% of that is and add it to our $3.75, our original price. Then that will give me the total sale price. So in order to do that, I just need to very simply, I'll zoom this in for you. I need to very simply take 60 and I put it over 100 when I divide 60 by 100, because that's what a fraction portion of a percent is over 100. It moves my decimal place 2 places to the left, which makes 0.6. So I just take my calculator, or I can do long division, and go $3.75 times, because remember, of means times. So I'm changing this to a decimal, which is putting it over 100 and dividing to make it 0.6, and I times it by $3.75. That's going to give me $2.25. So to find out how much the markup is, I take that 60%, or the real number is $2.25, and I add it to my original price of $3.75, which will give me $6. So he's going to charge $6 per pound. Hopefully you understand that. If you choose to use method 2 that we've been doing, feel free to walk through that. I think most of you are doing method 1 though, so I'm just going to stick with that. So if you could, we already did in class, but if you could turn to page 205 now and pause your video and do guided practice problem 1 and 2. And also on page 206, do A and B of problem 2. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see. And then I will go ahead and do number 3 with you. So go ahead and pause the video, do practice problem 1 and 2 on 205 and the A and B on 206. All right, let's try the next one. Number 3. One Friday, a restaurant received enough orange juice for a week. After the weekend, the restaurant's orange juice supply had decreased by 24%. 2, the real number for that 24%, is 76 quarts. After Monday, the supply had further decreased by 20%. what was the original amount of the orange juice received? So they're asking us for the real number for 100%. What was the original amount of the orange juice received one Friday? So Friday was 100%. We don't know that. They want us to find it out. We do know that after the weekend, 76 quarts here was a decrease from the 100% of 24%. So 76 quarts plus whatever this is here would equal our 100%. So what we need to do is to find out what percent this is. We know this, it's kind of confusing because 76 quarts is not the percent. It's asking us to find the 2% here that this equals. So we're going to go down here and say if I have 100, it said 24% was my 76 quarts. So I know this much, the 76 quarts, equals 24%. So you should have 24 in this box. So if I take 100% and take away 24%, it's going to tell me what the percentage is that is left. And so if you take 100 away from 24, which I'll show you on my problem here, if you take 100 away from 24, it actually equals 76, which is kind of going to make it confusing because it's 76% and it's 76 quarts. So the real number for 76% is 76 quarts. I don't know why they did that, but they did it. So make sure you remember that these aren't the same number. It just happened to equal that 76% is actually equal to a real number of 76 quarts. So if we took away the 24 from 100% and it equals 76%, that means 76% is actually equal to 76 quarts. So what we need to do is find our 1%, and this is a step that most of us just skip, but I'll walk through it because it's telling you to, because essentially usually what we do is we just do this. Okay, if I know the percent and I know the real number, I put them over each other as long as they match. The percent matches with the real number for that percent. Then I just go ahead and divide. Well, if I divide those two like it shows here, it will equal 1. 76 into 76 goes one time. So then I'm not done. That's not my answer because it's asking for the percentage. So I just need to times it by 100 to get the percentage, and that actually equals 100%. Or I mean, this is percent, and it actually equals 100. So I don't know why they chose this as a practice problem. It's kind of confusing because the percents are the same as the real number, and that makes it more confusing. But essentially, 1 times 100% equals 100. And so there was 100 orange juices for the week. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, kind of follow this along and put those answers in. 100 take away 24 equals 76%. 76% we know is 76 quarts, and then that is just taking our 76% over our real number of 76, which is the confusing part, sorry, and it comes out to 1. Last thing we have to do is times it by 100 to get our percent, and it's actually 100 is the real number. So knowing that on B, how much orange juice was left after Monday? Well, what does it say about Monday? After Monday, the supply had further decreased by 20%. So essentially we had 76 quarts after the weekend. Then after Monday, it decreased by 20% more of our, 20% more of our 76 quarts. So all we have to do is say, okay, if this is our 76% of, remember we're not putting the 100 in here, that was the answer to this question here. It's saying after Monday, the 20% came off of 76 quarts. So 76 is now our 100%. After Monday, 76 was our total percent, so it wants us to figure out, okay, if we take our 20% decrease out of that, how much was left? So essentially what we need to do, you can follow this if it helps you, but essentially what we're doing is saying, okay, if the 100%, sorry, I'm not pushing my book up all the way, if 76 is our 100% now, then after Monday, we need to figure out, okay, what percent was left if we take 20% away from that 76. So if we figure that this right here is going to be 100 take away 20, because it says 20%. 100 take away 20 would equal 80%. So we know we're dealing with 80% here. 100 take away, and I'll write 20 here just so we know what we need to put in this box, and that equals 80%. So now I need to find 80% times 76, which if I change 80% into a decimal, it turns to 0.08, and I times that by 76, it's going to turn out to equal 60.8. So that is my answer, is it's 60.8, because it's not asking me the percentage, so I don't need to turn this from a decimal into a percent. It's just asking me how much orange juice, so it's asking for the real number. So I can put 60.8. Okay, so go ahead, and if you would, now that I've done those two with you, I'm going to turn the page and we're going to talk about guided practice problem 4 together. All right, number 4 here, we're going to do this problem, and then I'll have you do practice problem or guided practice problem number 4 on your own. The regular price of a Statue of Liberty souvenir was $32 during a sale. Its price was reduced to $24. Find the percent of the discount. So it's giving us real numbers here, not percents. So what I need to do is say, okay, the total, the 100%, or my base number, is 32. The sale price was 24. They want me to figure out what is this percentage that it was reduced by. So essentially, what I want to do is I want to figure out, well, what's this real number amount? Because I can figure that out by seeing how much it was reduced. So what we're going to do is go 32, our 100%, our real number for 100%, and 24, which is the amount that it equaled after it was discounted, and the difference once I subtract them is 8. So the discount was $8. So we have the dollar amount for this, but now we need to figure out what's the percentage, because that's what they're asking us. Find the percent. So we have $32 equals the 100%, and we want to figure out, well, how much is $1? Well, it would be 32 is the 100%, and the real number for that, and it would be over 100%, $8. And here's the part, if this is all confusing you, essentially what we do is we say 8, and we're taking the $8, and I'm timesing it by 100. So 100 over 32. Well, essentially what that is saying is it's just saying 8 times, and they put, to make it a percentage, the 32, they're saying if you have $32 and there's 32 pieces, that equals 100%. It is a percent as a fraction. So we just have to do our multiplication here, and 8 essentially over 1, and 32 we multiply across. That's going to be 800 over 32. I need to divide that in, and it will actually equal, because we need to do our division here, it will actually equal 25, and that will give me my percent, because over here this was a percent, remember? So it actually comes out to a percent. I don't need to change it at all because I was actually using percents already. So essentially this is kind of confusing unless your brain works step to step. All you have to do is say, okay, here's my real number for the difference. Now I just need to times that by 100% real number and 100 actual percent. So our 100%, the real number for that was 32. And we want to find the percent of $8, so I need to times that by 100%. So you can either do it like that, or you can just say, okay, they want me to find $8. If I put that over 100, or if I times that by 100, if I times it by 100, it's going to come out to 800. And then I can put it over 32 if I want, because that is what I would need to divide. Whichever way works best, if you want to put 100 over 32, or if you just want to go 8 times 100 and come up with your answer and put it over what the real number for 100% is. Either way, it's going to work out once you reduce it to 25%. So hopefully that makes sense. If you can pause it and